But going back to Jordan Peterson for a second, I think what you said, and it's so surprising to hear you talk about your story of, having been a hardcore feminist and all of that. It made me think about my last girlfriend when I met her, where, she kind of had a very similar mindset. And the irony is that the more I leaned into my masculinity, the less we fought, the less conflict there was. Because the more she was able to relax into her femininity, and she was able to feel sexy, and she was like, I love when you take charge and when you make decisions, and and it wasn't that she was some sort of submissive wilting flower
or an idiot, or
right.
someone who can't pick a rest,.
You know what I mean? Like she was brilliant. We split the bills, and whenever she had an issue, we would talk about it. And just, I miss her to this day. She's brilliant. And I don't know if I'll find someone else that, that's at her level. We both wanted to be actors. That's why we're not together anymore, unfortunately.
I was like, what went wrong? And there
I know. It's just, it's a sad story. But it's like, I think the thing with Peterson and why he appeals to so many men is that there's been this constant, and I had internalized this as well. I mean, I grew up without my father. And a lot of young men especially, have internalized this idea that there is something inherently wrong with them and that they are defective. And someone like Peterson comes along who says, you are about something. You can really make yourself into something. You can slay dragons. You can be the hero of your own story. And that kind of thing, maybe it's a male power fantasy if at its extremes about, saving the world, but his philosophy is like, you can only save the world after you've saved yourself anyway. And this idea of taking on more responsibility and cleaning up your life and becoming as powerful as you can be is really, really appealing to men who they want a purpose, and they don't want people always denigrating them and telling them that they're toxic, telling them what they are is wrong or bad, or it's inferior to whatever women bring to the table. And then what you begin to realize is that for all the bluster and all the talk about, girls run the world and women this and women that, at the end of the day, the women that I meet, they want a man, you know what I mean? And they want somebody who can handle his business. And, it's so fascinating to me because I see the same thing, I see this phenomenon in women who are around my age. I'm almost 40. And the women who in their 20s who were so hardcore, like, I don't need a man, and, I'm going to go and accomplish all these things. Like, okay, well, you got all these degrees, all these career achievements, but you're miserable and you're lonely. And it's really delicate to try to talk about this because I do feel a lot of compassion, sincere compassion for a lot of women, but it's, I joke about, when I hear women say like, well, I pay my own bills and I have these degrees and I have this successful career, yada, yada. Why can't I find a man? And I'm thinking to myself, there's no IQ score or curriculum vitae in the world that's going to make a man's dick hard. That's just what it breaks down to. It's not, you accomplish all these things.
In the bodega for this, Clifton.
but you know what I'm saying. It's just like, it's not as though those things aren't important. It's just that
it's crazy. Like I've watched so many shows, or like I can't think of. I think it's Kevin Samuels or whatever. There's a couple people who they ultimately
not Kevin Samuels. Oh no! Did you bring up Kevin Samuels?
Kevin Samuels, where they're like, and he's extreme, but when a lot of women have the realization of like, oh fuck, I wasted so much time like being a boss and being a CEO and getting myself financially secure that I didn't realize all I had to do was like. I mean, this is going to sound so like, I don't know, sexist, but like, honestly, you can be so happy just by being like getting in shape, being pretty, and like being friendly and nice. And like, you could totally meet a man. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to have a, a good GPA. Like so many things that women think matter, like honestly don't matter when it comes to attracting a guy.
Well, they're projecting what they want in a man onto the men. And Chrissy, you cool as fuck. I can't believe you brought up Kevin Samuels.
He's great.
Conversation.
He blew me away. I was like, this guy, he's harsh, but he speaks a lot of truth.
Well, what's funny is that a lot of the women who don't like him, they almost never disagree with what he's saying. They're saying, I don't like his tone. And I'm thinking to myself, you should hear the way that he talks to dudes. He's even more harsh on men, and he's like, clean yourself up, like get your fucking life together. Like, what are you doing, bro? But yeah, I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow. It doesn't denigrate any of your other achievements, but it's like, men, we're not really that demanding. And the thing is, a lot of men, and I felt this myself. I mean, one thing that's not really spoken about or realized is that there's this idea that, let's say you're with a male partner and you're supposed to be quote unquote submissive. There's this idea that your life as a man is easy street. And I'm like, no, it's not easy putting the weight of your family and like your job and your career on your shoulders. And a lot of men complain about that. But they'll do it. They'll do it because they love. That's how they show love to their wife or their partner. It's how they show love to their kids. And it's not as though it's like a cakewalk. There's just a lot of stress involved. But there's a lot of men who also take pride in being able to identify themselves as as a leader, as a strong provider, as someone who is handling his business and protecting what he has to do. So there's a lot of psychology that's at play there that I think gets overlooked by a lot of these activists who try to move us away from what we are. And I love this. I haven't read the paper in full, but I want to. But have you heard of the what is it? The paradox of declining female happiness?
No, but I'm already obsessed with it. And
the thesis is basically that since the 1970s, despite the expansion of women's opportunities and their roles in society beyond being homemakers and mothers and wives, they've self-reported declining happiness. I read another statistic where 1 in 4 women are on some sort of antidepressant. There was another story, a couple of stories, one out of Canada and one out of the UK, where women aged 18 to 24 right now are out drinking their male counterparts.
Wow.
So there's and then you add on social media's influence on top of that, which people seem to think has a more deleterious effect on young girls.
Yeah, because when you remove like the pillars of what would be your strength and self-esteem, and like those are gone, or they're made to be like feeble little sticks, and then you go on social media and you compare yourself to all these other hot chicks on Instagram, it just kicks those out, and then you're just like, it's
and as a guy, you look at it and you're like, like I look at, if I see a guy who has a great physique, I say, hey, I want to look like that guy.
Hey, that guy's gay. No.
No, not quite. But I think for a lot of men, it's like you see people who are, they have a lot of status, or they appear to have some kind of success or whatever. And so that has an impact as well. So, but the broader point is, are we willing to examine why, despite the fact that women have more freedoms than ever, like you mentioned that, oh no, you didn't, but I mean, women make up 2/3 of college of the college student body right now.
But I was thinking that,
well,
they're more in college. And guys are, the smart ones are, learning trades, I guess. And then ultimately, I love hearing stories like the guy who went to college and has like 2 degrees is in heaps and heaps of debt. Meanwhile, his buddy he went to high school with is a plumber and he's crushing it and he has no debt.
And these are the people that quote unquote leftists call idiots and dummies. Meanwhile, it's like, you know what? If you have a plumbing business, you have to have some kind of intelligence to be able to run a successful business. You have to be able to read people. You have to understand money, how it works. You have to learn how to meet people halfway. You have to have some, they're like, you're not an idiot. You know what I mean? But then now, because we have all this technology available, people are listening to podcasts. They're listening to books on tape. There's all these lectures on YouTube. I mean, that's what I was doing. I would smoke a joint and, fire up some Tetris and listen to, Thomas Sowell lectures or speeches or whatever. You know what I mean? So the knowledge gap, it's like the scene out of Good Will Hunting now, where this jerk douchebag from Harvard is like talking about all these classes he's taken. But then, little Will Hunting, aka Matt Damon, is like, you spend $100,000 for this, for what I could get with a 10 cents in the library card,
Wow.
And
yeah.
That's what's happening now. The sort of knowledge gap is decreasing and people are educating themselves. So this idea that if you went to honestly, a lot of the people that I meet that have gone to Ivy League schools are the dumbest motherfuckers that you could imagine.
Right. And they only got in because they know someone, or their dad is someone, or they had the money. Yeah.
So it's like, you're not as brilliant as you think you are. You're really not. So there's a level, an evening out of the playing field that's happening right now because we're in this like digital age. So in that way, it's a very exciting time, and I think that's why people like Jordan Peterson and Kevin Samuels are catching on, because we have access now. There's people out there that are saying, "Wait a minute, this resonates with me," and and I think there's something to that. And we're seeing now the blue church, as it's been called, is just being completely exposed for the shallow, anti-intellectual, amoral, even increasingly creatively bankrupt cult that it really is.
It's so interesting, like what a lot of things you're saying are, it's making me put ideas together. It's like I feel like smarter for having talked to you. Like think about like what women want deeply, which is like ultimately like it's what you lack, right? You're looking for what you lack, and of course not all women, whatever. There are some women who are naturally like less feminine and some men who are naturally less masculine, whatever.
Right.
But like if most women are looking for like what they are lacking, which is like strength, stability, you're like, okay, you want to find that. And then, okay, so every woman wants strength, stability. The left sells it to you. Like the only way you can be strong is being on your own, by being an island, like being a boss bitch, staying at home with your cat, like YOLOing, binging, whatever it is, like spending too much money on dumb shit.
If I can jump in real quick, the irony is that they're trying to tell women that strength is found in being some sort of caricature of what they think a man is. That's pretty much what it is.
Yes. And then, whereas I don't know if you want to generalize like the right or more of a conservative mindset, if it's like progressive versus like conservative, right? Like, and then I feel like what seems like the healthier side is like, yes, we want strong women too, but it's not through being an island. It's not through being like that you have to be yourself and you also have to be the man somehow also because of a trust issue or an anger issue. It's like, no, it's like the way to strength is through partnership. It's through like you're a team. It's like, what are your gifts to give to a guy? And what are you looking for to complement you? And it's like, and it's like, then you move on, you're stronger together. You're in a good place to make a family, start a business, whatever. But it's like, you're never going to get there. You can't start a business or a family, or it's going to be way fucking harder if you're on your own, if you've fallen for this like leftist trick, basically. And it keeps you back years, I think.
I would agree with that. But what's interesting too is, I have this theory that we're in the midst of the next sexual revolution, but it's being driven by men. Some might call it a backlash to, I don't know, maybe second wave or third wave feminism. But now, for instance, I mentioned the Manosphere briefly. Now there is a correspondent movement that's more subterranean because we can't talk about men's issues publicly. And a lot of these guys, they have valid points, I think, about, say, the bias in the family court system, or the, how men are viewed as disposable, and therefore their needs are also viewed as disposable and not really important. But now, if there would be a lot of men in the quote unquote manosphere who would listen to the things that we're talking about, which really boils down to more traditional gender roles. And now they're saying some of the same things that feminists would say about the roles that women should play. And so now you have men who are saying, why should I sacrifice, my life expectancy and my body and my money for a society that hates me? Why is it that, I'm only viewed as a workhorse?
Or to be drafted, right? Die for your country that seems to hate you.
Exactly. So one of the big conflicts right now is that, and Kevin Samuels has mentioned this as well, is that women want to continue to have the freedom to be non-traditional, but yet they still expect men to move in a traditional way. So men are still expected to be what we've always been. But what's happening now is that men are saying to themselves, no, they're walking away, and they're eschewing marriage, they're eschewing relationships completely. And the irony is that, I don't think that a lot of women understand how they are contributing to the continued, I don't know, bifurcation
Bad
of
for the
the
team. It's bad
sexes.
for all women. It's bad for you as an individual. It's bad for like women as a group.
Well, and it's also bad for society, I think, in the long run. Leave it to a gay man, but it was Douglas Murray. He's like, men and women, they have to get on. They have to get on.
Hmm.
And at a certain point, I mean, where does the buck stop? So you have men who are saying, "What's the point of starting a family now? It's a huge financial burden, and at any point, the woman can just decide that she doesn't want to be a part of it anymore, and then there goes your life's work, there goes your children."
Wow, that's
You
so
know,
sad that like you forget that men, or I don't realize that men think that way because like my whatever female thinking is you could be left at any moment. You're gonna be screwed. You're gonna be broke. Like, and men have
everybody's
feelings too.
scared.
Yeah.
Everybody's afraid. There's a great film called The Red Pill. I forgot what the woman's name was who made it, but it's very, very interesting. I highly suggest watching it, because she started out as Cassie J, I think is what her name is, who made the film, and she started out with a super feminist mindset. She was like, I'm going to go talk to these men's rights activists, so to speak, and figure out what they're about. And the film isn't really about it's less about exploring the ideas that these men, and they're not all men, by the way, who speak about these issues, but it's more about her evolution in thinking. So by the time she reaches the end of the film, she realizes that, look, I had it completely wrong, and the way that we're treating men is bad. Like, I just, she's like, my female brain just could not empathize with men at all. Another thing, a book, and I haven't read the book yet, but there is a 2020, a long time ago, did a special on this book. A woman named Nora Vincent, who was a lesbian feminist, like hardcore, wrote a book called Self-Made Man. And so Nora Vincent, she's like this 5'10" sort of butch lesbian who she underwent movement training. She went to the gym to build up her upper body. She had a friend who did hair and makeup for her to give her some like stubble. So she lived for about 1.5 years.
She stopped asking for directions.
Yeah.
Just peed standing up.
She went the whole 9 yards. But she lived for 1.5 years as like a man named Ned, and she went out on dates with women. She joined a bowling league, just to talk to men. And what she discovered about male psychology and the way men relate to each other, and on this 2020 special is fascinating because she just said women have no idea. She goes, men are suffering, men are in pain, and women have no idea. They have no idea what it's like to be a man. They have no idea what men are going through. And
Wow.
yeah,
like men need support, right? I don't know, think about it, whatever, happy trad relationship, like it's like if a man is like busting his ass all day, like working, stressing, right? But like he wants to be able to provide. It's like you're good, just like any person who's working hard. Like you need support. You need somebody to cheerlead for you. You need somebody to be like, do you need a drink? Do you want a snack? Like that doesn't have to be a man-woman thing. That's just like a good friend would see you working hard and try to meet your needs there.
Whenever my last girlfriend, she'd be like, I'd be like working on an audition or something, not like digging ditches, obviously, but do you want a drink? Want me to make you a drink or something? It's just like, thank you so much. Just thank you. Like if I met a woman like that, I treat her like fucking gold, because, you meet so many women now who the idea of doing anything for their male partner is seen as some form of slavery or oppression. And like
you
you're
don't
basically
respect yourself, which is crazy.
right. And it's like, dude, like we were saying before, we don't really ask that much of women, but it's like if you have someone in your life that that adds value to your life, doesn't cause too much drama, and just is an asset to you, that's just, it's so rare that when you do meet somebody like that, you're just like, oh my god, like let's be together forever and ever and ever and ever. And what's often glossed over, so as we were talking about before, it's just like men have needs too. Now, to be fair, I think part of the reason, part of the issue is that men, we're expected, again, on one hand, we're told that we need to be more emotional and more open with our feelings, yada, yada, yada. But then the second we do that,
You're a pussy. Yeah.
exactly, pussy just dries right up, right? It's the
Oh.
Sahara. And so, but it's not just women doing that. It's also men. He's like, what are you, man? Come on, fag. What are you doing, bro? Like, you crying, yada, yada, yada. So there's pressure from both ends. And so, men don't really open up about their feelings. I think it also extends to how we take care of ourselves. That there's the classic joke about, men, we will not go to see the doctor unless we're like on death's doorstep. And part of it is like, yeah, you got to keep a stiff upper lip. You got to tough it out and push through it. It's I think maybe a very maybe classically masculine sort of trait. Yeah, things happen, people say stuff, it might hurt your feelings, but you just, whatever, man. Water off a duck's back. You keep going. You got aches and pains, you keep going. You might be injured, you just keep going. And you don't talk about what's bothering you so much, unless you have a really close friend or confidant that you can open up about this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of just really complex dynamics at play, but we flatten things out and we simplify them into like, women good, men bad, or vice versa now, with a lot of the Manosphere kind of stuff.
Yeah, and also it's like, and I just know this through just living for years, like the things I used to see as negative aspects of like male behavior, I now like see the positive side of. Like I used to think like the worst thing was like to be sloppy and not pick up and like, oh, like why can't you clean the bathroom? Why, you know what I mean? Like why are there things? And it's like what I used to think was like a laziness trait in men, or just like, and there's all the memes like of the guy in his apartment with like no furniture, nothing hung up on the walls. It's like, do men actually live like this? And it's like,
Yeah.
what I used to see is like maybe laziness or you're dumb or whatever. And it's like, no, it's because I think a lot of them are so busy putting other things first, like other people, other like the goal, right? Like the business idea or whatever it is. It's like, and I think once I just one day I just woke up and I was like, oh, if I wanted a guy who like picked up all the time and was always vacuuming, like that would be a gay dude or a chick, and I even had like a therapist one time that was like, I don't know, it just didn't help. She was like
Mm.
trying to convince me, like, oh, you guys need to share the like the housework and hire a maid. And I don't know. Well, therapy is not always, the answer for everything, or it's like it should be used like situationally, not like as a long term thing.